My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to talk about the silent journey of weight loss. Okay, this is the quiet moments, the unseen moments where no one's applauding. Okay, I want to talk about something that nobody talks about. And this weight loss journey is a silent journey. Okay, because most of the work that you're going to do, nobody sees. Okay, nobody claps when you order a healthier option. No one, claps when you stop yourself from overeating, for example. No one claps when you wake up early and you don't snooze that alarm and you get that workout in or those steps in. And no one claps when you see everyone else saying yes and you say no. If anything, it's like, come on, girl, right? The crab's in the bucket. You never have to put a lid on that bucket because there's always someone to pull you down. And listen, this journey is quiet. It's repetitive. I tell my clients over and over, if this feels boring, you're doing it right. Okay. And sometimes, I'm just going to say it, this journey is hard. It's hard as hell. The transformation is built in the decisions nobody sees, day in and day out. So every day you're making a decision, whether you realize it or not, and this is where I want to get really real with you guys. The weight loss isn't one big heroic moment. It isn't like some big grand epiphany. So many women come into my program and they're like, wow, I was overeating. I had no clue how much I was overeating. The moments where you choose a smaller portion, obviously appropriate. Those moments when you're drinking water, walking when you don't feel like it. That was me this morning. When you do the meal prep or plan your meals, okay? You get that workout done anyway, okay? None of that is crazy, earth-shattering, or super exciting. But it's really about the moments that you show up even though you're tired. You show up because you're stressed. You show up when you're unmotivated, and you do it anyways. Because the body you want is built through these ordinary decisions that, repeated consistently, it produces the result. And this is why I want to talk into this, because so many women struggle with really, number one, having the right strategy that hands down. So many women I see are doing all these different apps, all these different workouts. You're over consuming and it too, right? Because you can be good Monday through Thursday and then all hell breaks loose, or we have a holiday or somebody's birthday and you're just like, I have to have all the things. It's the expectation, right? And there's an emotional side that nobody sees where women struggle. But I get the opportunity to be intimately inundated in a woman's life. Sometimes it gets messy. Sometimes they get mad at me, which I kind of hate. That doesn't feel good, but I'm also here for it because there are so many moments where women feel dismissed. They feel left out. They question, is this even worth it? Is this worth it? It is so darn slow. You want these instant results. And you wonder, is anybody even noticing that I'm doing all these damn things? Okay, but I'm going to tell you, that sometimes nobody does. Sometimes nobody sees the actual changes. A question I ask a lot of my clients is, has people started noticing? Have people said anything to you? And it kind of sucks when people don't. But here's another thing. Some people feel so badly about themselves that they can't give you a compliment. And I know that sounds weird and doesn't 100% make sense, but you are going to begin to notice that the real battle isn't this physical battle. It's an emotional battle, because weight loss requires an emotional maturity more than motivation. I mean, this is where I can tell you the emotionally stable women that I coach, this is a very just cut and dry, very easy peasy. We come in, sure, do we have a few nuances or struggle points or things that we got to work through, but reasonably speaking, they just bulldoze through these results. There's another subset of women that, you've got to work through the stuff. You got to work through injuries. You got to work through sick kids. You got to work through, competing priorities at work, your husband. Did I say kids? Like there's no shortage of things on your plate. But the problem is we're trying to operate in this old version of ourselves. And you're not used to saying no to this woman. You're used to giving in. This is no different than when someone tries to stop drinking and all of a sudden it's like, well, but I always go get a drink, or I always have this. And it's like, well, always, really? But it's really about choosing you differently, okay? Staying disciplined, following through. Hey, I actually want these results, and these results are actually worth the struggle, the hard times, the challenges. And what you're really saying no to is old habits, okay? You're really saying no to this emotional eating that we've done probably our entire adult life, maybe since childhood. We say no to the self-sabotage that every time the day goes south, we don't have to have candy. We don't have to have chocolate. We don't have to have whatever, second helping, whatever. Also, we get away from this instant gratification. And it's tough, right? We live in this day and age where we can literally have stuff show up on our doorstep a matter of hours later. Now, I wish we could just do that with our body. Like, can I get that on Amazon? Is that cool? Like, how much is that going to cost me? But it's not. This is where this journey, I promise you, can feel so lonely, so isolating. And quite frankly, you're like, is it really worth it? But I'm going to tell you that every healthy choice is a vote for the future version of you. And the problem is right now you don't know if it's worth it. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. You don't know. Is this going to be worth it? Because you can't visualize this. Maybe you can, but for some of you out there, it's been such a hot minute since you have felt really good in your own skin. You have been frustrated for most of your adult life, post kids, post the career, whatever. And you kind of forget what it feels like to be playful, to put on jeans and not do the crazy dance or just, forbid jeans for a hot minute. I know I sure did. You can't remember what it's like to just put on any dress and it looks good. It's what color do you want? Okay. And for most of you, we have to delay some form of gratification, okay? This one might sting a little bit, but this is really huge. The work doesn't always pay off immediately. And this is, again, why I wanted to speak so heavily into this, because you may not see the scale move right away. I had a client who was just started in my program, and she questioned, is this program really for her? And it's a fair question, but we hadn't even seen it through far enough to even know, like, okay, should we be changing something? Should we not? Also, I, on a daily basis, remind women, you are down on the scale. Okay, just because it perfectly isn't 6, 8+ pounds, like, or if we're comparing ourselves to someone else, which I totally get, I absolutely get, but we have to understand that we may not see this scale move right away. Okay, that we're stacking wins a little bit differently. that maybe we don't notice the physical changes. What's interesting is I do a lot of Zoom calls, and man, I can see it in a person's face. I'm just like, oh my gosh, hey. And it's interesting how that happens pretty quickly for women. And here's the other thing too, is we don't just instantly feel confident. And I will tell you that one takes a hot second to catch up with you. Some women are just naturally confident no matter what size, what shape, whatever. And it's a great attribute of a woman. But for some of us, myself included, is it takes us a second to kind of catch up with, okay, dang, yeah, all right, this looks pretty good. All right, I feel good. And yeah, all right, okay, it's really affecting my confidence. But here's what I want to call out is everything is changing. Okay, you're changing your discipline, how you show up day in and day out. You're changing your self-trust that, hey, I can, reasonably speaking, look at a menu and I can make a better choice. Or I can opt to cook the food at home because that's going to better serve my body. Or, if the kids have left 50% or more of their plate, you can either put it, in a container for them for later, or you can throw it away. That was a really hard one for me. It's like, dude, you didn't eat anything on your plate. And then you proceed to eat it because you don't want to waste the food. And here's what I also know is the things that are changing are your standards. Okay. You tick at a different frequency. This is how I know a woman is truly leveling up and changing for life, is our standards start changing. You start being less tolerant of things around you. You start to realize ooh, this isn't quite what I want anymore because your identity has changed. Okay, the transformation is happening long before you see it in the mirror. I knew personally that I was changing, but everything hadn't caught up with it. So something that we desire is to move. Now, sure, we could move today. That would be totally fine. But what happened, and this happened, probably a good, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago now, that we had gone to a training specifically on mental programming. And it was out in beautiful Scottsdale. Now, anyone that's been out to Scottsdale, it just ticks to a different vibe. It's just a totally different vibe out there. Everything is super nice, very flashy, and not that that's what life has to be about. But when you come back and you look at your streets are crumbling, I swear, Indianapolis or Marion County is like a third world country right now with the level of potholes being exposed in our city, and then the amazing patchwork that we do. And now I've talked to other folks across the US, and you guys feel the similar feels. And now in our city's defense, the cooling and thawing of our roadways, I'm sure, is a trip to maintain. But we could do a better job, and I'm just going to call it out. But I also started to feel the feels of knowing that we were changing and evolving, and we didn't quite understand it at first, but it truly shaped us to changing our entire business model, to understanding what environment we wanted our kids in, to even where we live, going, okay, we've made this as good as we can make it. And yeah, it's okay to move on. It's okay to outgrow something. But what happens in that moment is you get very dissatisfied. I remember driving down a particular street and just getting pissed because I was honestly scared I was going to lose a tire, because I actually have, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Especially when I first got my car, and I just was like, oh, okay, these tires are different. Okay, I gotcha. I've actually left my winter tires on a little bit longer than I probably should be right now, but they're a little more durable. So I hope you guys are laughing at me. But I got very dissatisfied with the current environment. I also started to get really, really frustrated with a neighbor across the street who hasn't completely changed. And she or I shouldn't say it that way. We all came in and kind of invaded the space, right? And she's a very, very nice woman. She just tends to get on my nerves most days. And so does her barking dogs. So, but this is what happens is you start getting very dissatisfied with everything around you. Like you get very frustrated, you almost get a little combative, and you have to understand the emotional intelligence that not everything is keeping up at the same speed. So, for example, in a weight loss journey, this is where your friends around you haven't changed and are always going out to happy hour or ordering drinks or ordering all of these things that you're like, oh my gosh, this just does not work for me anymore. Or your kids are always wanting you to order pizza. Well, guess what? They're not on this health journey. So all of a sudden mom says, hey, I don't want that in the house. It's going to take everybody around you a hot second to really understand like, oh, wow, things are changing. Or maybe your husband hasn't gotten on the same frequency as you. And this is something where I will tell you when husbands and wives can get in really, really good sync with taking care of themselves, it's amazing how much this impacts your relationship. But you have to be okay that everyone around you isn't keeping up at the same speed. And that's why I believe so heavily in the coaching and support piece of what my program does, and having a community of other women around you that are understanding this, that, hey, yeah, we have a different standard for ourselves. You know, we don't hit snooze anymore. We make our meals. We figure out the right recipes that work for us. We get the groceries in the fridge at all cost, right? Like we figure things out. Whereas you may have friends that are just like, oh, forget it. I'm just going to order takeout, or I'm just going to do this or that. When you're sitting here going, hey, girl, it's really not that hard, but she's not there yet. You can't force people around you to do what you're doing if they're not on the same wavelength. Just like I can't, make my neighbor, tick at the same frequency as me. And God, this is all in love and respect. It's just our time to move. So there's a moment when this will all click. Okay. There's a moment where one day you're going to absolutely look up and you are going to see her. The woman you have worked so incredibly hard for. The woman who just kept showing up, stopped quitting on herself every flippin' Friday, okay? Who built herself quietly. And listen, maybe you're building your body, but maybe you are building your business, building your career. All these things directly apply. And here's what I'm going to tell you is there's no coincidence that when you start leveling up personally, meaning you start getting your health in a really, really good spot, everything else is going to start following suit. Okay, your business grows, your career takes off. All of a sudden, you and your husband are ticking at a new frequency, and it's a good thing. And it's all because you decided that you wanted this confidence, you wanted this peace, you wanted this strength, this self-respect. Not just because of what the body actually looks like, okay? This is the good stuff, okay? You realize that the greatest reward wasn't just the weight loss. It's the woman you became because you're disciplined, you're strong, you're sexy, you're confident. So you're never going to regret this work. So I want to really drive this part of my message home because taking care of yourself will never get old. You will never regret that. You will never regret being strong. Okay? You will never regret prioritizing your health, being disciplined, and you'll never, ever regret feeling good in your own skin. Because when you can put the bathing suit on and walk around the pool and feel confident, that hits on a whole different level. Okay. The things that you're going to regret is waiting. You will regret not starting this journey all day, every day. We're coming up on pool season and vacations, going to the lake, and if you're sitting here going, I don't even want to go, that's a problem. Okay. Because it's too late. It's too late for you to get smoking hot and ready for the season if we haven't started already. Because you keep abandoning yourself. You will never, ever, ever regret becoming the woman that you are so proud to be. So I want to pull this full circle for you. Is this journey is silent and it's hard because nobody sees all the reps you put in the gym, and they just look at you one day and they're like, dude, what'd you do? And you're like, I've had so many women say to me, are you on a GLP-1? And I'm like, I wish a GLP-1 got you these results. And it's like, damn, no, I've been working my ass off. Okay. But there's no shame. Like, listen, use the tool. It's absolutely a useful tool. I use a lot of different peptides, but they are not the reason I look the way I look. I've been disciplined to my nutrition. I've been disciplined to my alcohol. I've been disciplined to my workouts, to my steps, to my sleep. Okay. There are multiple times where I've said no, or I've had a certain portion because that's what's going to get me to my results. But one day, everyone will see your result. And more importantly, you're going to feel it. You're going to be alive. You're going to be confident. You're going to be free. You're going to be proud. And the work may be quiet, but the confidence it creates is loud. We're worth every single ounce of this journey and figuring it out. Sometimes it's going to cost. You're going to have to invest in a coach. And I highly recommend, if you're listening to this and you've been like, damn girl, you just keep talking to me, I keep hearing you, book a call with me. There's a link in my bio on all my socials, and let's figure this out. Okay. I've got different options to my coaching program. And more importantly, you're going to make that initial first step, which is the hardest step to take. But then we're going to get into this and you're going to be like, damn, I don't have to do this alone. Okay. That's one of the biggest things that women tell me is like, I first off had no clue how much I was overeating. Second, you're making me work out less, which is crazy to me. And then I'm going to keep your head focused towards this journey, but you're never, ever, ever going to regret feeling strong, sexy, confident. What you will regret is not getting started and saying, maybe next time, maybe at a later date, maybe when finances are better, maybe when the timing is better. Listen, the time is never going to be better. Okay. Like, you're always going to have something. And that's why having coaching and support to help you through these tough times is really critical. This is why I've always personally invested in coaching and support. So when this message is hitting home and you're saying, hey, I am beyond ready, I just need to take that critical first step, all you got to do is book in the call, because this journey is silent. And it's okay to have a coach clapping for you. It's okay to have a community of women who are like, I get it, girl. Hey, here's a new recipe I've tried. Check it out. You don't have to go on this journey alone. But there is going to be the silent work where no one's clapping for you, and you're going to have to keep your head in the game because it's actually what you want. This is what I coach and teach in my program. And so I'd be honored if you would grab a call on my calendar and let's see if it's a good fit. Take care.